Comcast. Look, I know it takes a village to get a movie made, and that's expensive, but this is entirely too many logos.
East and West do not mistrust each other because we're armed. We're armed because we mistrust each other.
Reagan narration. Hey, Reagan? Reading. We need to show we're in the 80s. Sir, we just opened with the Mr. Gorbachev speech from Reagan. We need more 80s! New order it is, sir. And if you were going to shoot him, why ram him twice? I get maybe ramming him once. He was running perpendicular to your car. But ram him again after that? Isn't that just a waste of time when you plan on shooting him to death in the end anyway? A fat guy shot another guy I don't know in one half of Berlin during the Cold War so he could steal his watch or some and I'm just like, this is a pretty good movie by the end. Why does it have such a sketchy and terrible opening? Who thought these first 3 minutes were super compelling? Why can't Charlize be in the opening scene? Charlize has now appeared in movies where she takes an ice bath, a milk bath, a couple of couples baths, and at least one regular bath. What's next? A Chipotle bath? A garlic bath? A mud bath? This pro-bath agenda has got to stop, Charlize. I know Lorraine is a big shot spy and probably don't give a but that window is wide f***ing open. Half of London has a clear view of her Big Bens. God damn, this is so washed out and filtered it might as well be black and white. Maybe that's the point, but if it is, the point. Sure, who doesn't keep their expositional nostalgic pictures in a random bathroom drawer? I don't know, I just don't think this movie is 1989 enough. Can we maybe find a way to squeeze in something about Pete Rose, or maybe Tim Burton's Batman? Taylor Swift's birth? Lorraine used makeup to cover her other facial injuries, but I guess ran out before she could get to the eyes?
Berlin, what happened?
Well, with that earlier 10 days later text, I'm just now piecing together that this movie is going to do the whole flashback, the entire movie a bit at a time, while the main character is being interrogated or interviewed in the present thing from, well, Titanic, Slumdog Millionaire, The Usual Suspects, Young Guns 2, Vanilla Sky, Mission Impossible 3, hey, 2 Tom Cruise movies, Young Guns 2, that Natalie Portman SNL rap video, Citizen Kane. Hey, I like this movie, and it's already told me this is based on a graphic novel. But this unnecessary spray paint graphic labels make it look way too Suicide Squad-y for me. Also, only 9 minutes into the film, it finally begins. And honestly, the first 9 minutes were so bland, you f***ers better have one mother of a surprise payoff in store.
Your Russian is excellent. You're an expert in escape and evasion. Proficient in intelligence collection.
Atomic Bond. Also, what an expositional resume.
We promised Spyglass immunity in exchange for a document on microfilm codenamed The List.
Wait, The List is the code name for a list that contains names of spies? Why even have a code name for that shit? It's literally what it is. Also, movie rips off the list of all the spies' names MacGuffin from all the spy movies.
David Percival. He's our #1 in Berlin. He's your point of contact now.
And 100% certain to either be evil or have ulterior motives if I've ever movied before in my life, and I have.
Straight from the tip of the Virgin Mary.
Of all the whiskeys in all the world, this character in this movie decided to crown as champion Jack Daniels, a fine enough whiskey from my home state of Tennessee that is in no way the best of the best, and which some would even argue is just well-marketed swill.
If the Russians get that list, we're all buggered. Sideways.
But that's such an ignorant thing to do if the Russians love their children too.
This is highly sensitive. Trust no one.
Lorraine is a goddamn super spy, dude. Do you really have to spout this lazy crap before she goes on a mission?
You remember Mr. Bremovich, don't you? Of course you do.
So you knew she was coming, planned to kill her, but still announce yourself like this and give her time to reach down to her shoes? Despite this potentially fatal conflict in the backseat, this motherfucker continues to drive, rather than stopping the car, getting out, and shooting Lorraine. Luckily, this chase ended in the part of West Berlin where you can easily dispose of comatose henchmen in broad daylight without anyone noticing.
You want to touch it? To blend in the east.
You know what probably doesn't blend in? That expensive-ass sports car that's being haphazardly driven in the middle of the day. Bremovich waited until now to ask this very important question to one of his henchmen? What the hell was all the beating for then? Two versions of Blue Monday were used for this movie, and neither one was by Orgy. So someone's following her and she smokes. Got it. This movie sure wastes a lot of time, doesn't it?
I will not release this body without the correct information.
It's a simple mistake.
Miss Lloyd, in Germany we don't make simple mistakes.
Wait, what? Lorraine goes to complete the first item on her to-do list, gets denied by a mortician, then just pieces out to take an ice bath? The hell kind of spy is she? Also, why does she use ice baths to numb the pain when plenty of legal and illegal but easily obtainable drugs would do the job faster and with much less lugging of ice buckets?
We need to run.
I can only assume that this expositional dream sequence was inserted to spark debate over whether or not Lorraine is a replicant. Radio's embedded in your headboard. Yet another idea the 80s got wrong about the future. And this movie loves its mirror shots. Maybe too much. Like Charlize went so method during Snow White and the Huntsman, she started demanding tons of mirrors in her contract.
I want Satchel, dead or alive. He's a black eye to the crown.
Whoa, that's racist. Oh, he said black eye. Carry on. Why are these dickholes approaching so cautiously? Just to give Lorraine enough time to get set up for ass kickery? Dude, you don't need to keep using the silent motion tricks. Under the circumstances of your partner being choked out by a garden hose, you can just tell your guys what to do. Or even ask Lorraine what her deal is. Has anyone tried that? Since this is set in Germany, I'll assume this is technically a Wilhelm scream. This movie confirms that, yes, women can also be Jason Bourne. Ah, yes, leaving a dog-eared copy of Machiavelli's The Prince in the foreground of Percival's house is an extremely subtle way of letting us know he's a selfish butthole.
Your library includes Larry Flint.
Champion of free speech.
This is apparently the British spy version of I only read it for the articles. Jesus Christ, this version of Der Kommissar was released in 1982 and has nothing to do with this era, other than we're in Germany. Also, I hate Der Kommissar. This movie has more liquor product placement than a fucking DJ Khaled music video. And a hard-on for Jack Daniels, considering this movie is taking place in Cold War Berlin in 1989.
David Hasselhoff's in town.
Lucky us.
The fact that this guy thinks he's being inconspicuous. Sure, it's good context for us, but why would Lorraine have all her different passports laid out like this? Like, what if the housekeeper brings up extra towels? You don't think they're gonna see that shit?
You should have applied for a visitor's permit. What kind of work do you do?
Legal affairs.
Luckily for Lorraine, she found the one customs agent in East Berlin that speaks perfect English. Hell, it's hard to find a customs agent that speaks perfect English in the US. Girl being stalked seeks refuge in movie theater playing stalker movie. What the f*** was this asshole's plan? He had beaten Lorraine to the point she would be easily transportable, but because he kicked her through the f***ing screen and took forever to walk through it, he f***ing lost her? What the f*** was this asshole's plan? Despite all this commotion outside the building, Lorraine still finds a side exit no one knows about or is covering. There are enough of these shots of long, luscious drags off of cigarettes in this movie that it's pretty much become smoke porn. He's pondering how to tell Charlize about the magic loom they get their orders from.
I look for pleasure in the details.
Not sure what went wrong here, but this progressive lesbian side story kills the movie's momentum, and I can't help but wonder if it's Sofia Boutella's inability to sell this line even a little bit. Well, even though nothing was really discussed except for the fact that Delphine's French intelligence and she offered a somewhat cryptic warning to me, that's enough shop talk, let's make the hell out.
Did she give you information?
She gave me nothing.
I know you wanted to give us a flashback of her clearly giving Charlize information, but they had to ask her this 4 times before she said anything. What interrogator debriefer is going to believe your answer after thinking about it for that long?
Are you following me? Maybe you're not as good at this spy as you think.
Christ, how has Spockton stayed alive this long if he announces his presence, then walks up behind a fucking spy with no clue of what he has in front of it? The mummy on her tummy. It's a nice shot, but up there all alone, isn't this a pretty conspicuous way to have a clandestine spy talk? Sure, maybe no one can hear you, but you're drawing all kinds of attention to yourselves, given that there's nothing to do up on top of that tiny platform to nowhere except have clandestine conversations. Lamp, 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 lamp. Percival is 97 kilograms, which translates to 213 pounds. The only way James McAvoy could weigh that much is if all of his split personalities were real and were included in this f***ing measurement. Oh yeah, thanks for remembering, James. It's been almost 20 minutes since the movie Jack Daniels.
Our priority is the list. We can't make mistakes.
I mean, is being a spy mostly just drinking in bars, drinking at home, smoking cigarettes, f***ing beautiful women, and talking about the mission? Because if so, I could do at least 4 of those 5 things.
Instead, Percival kept it a secret, putting us in a precarious position.
A lot of alliteration from anxious atomic assassins attempting to assuage angry authority through auditory aspersion. Oh yeah, so that's still a thing? I swear to God, Charlize just took this role to wear pretty clothes, learn jujitsu, chain smoke, and cuddle Sofia Boutella.
When you tell the truth, you look different.
Cute romantic moment, but does she tell the truth even one time prior to the very last scene, though? Here is a man about to watch these two pick a lock on a restricted subway door and then just drive off on his merry way without ever reporting it or yelling, hey, stop that. And while that may be what a real underpaid subway worker would actually do, it's still a sin. Oh, f*** off with this shit already. What the f*** is up with this skateboard? The illegal passport operation also makes or paints skateboards? Or are you telling me that one of the illegal passport operations employees takes skateboards to work every day in East Berlin?
Hey, it's his family.
His family who knows Spyglass is a spy. So why the would they just waltz into a meeting of spies doing spy without, like, a special knock or a hey, it's us shout? I was admittedly a kid when the Berlin Wall fell. But was it really known days in advance what day and time it was going to come down? This movie makes it sound like it was. I don't remember that being the case. I thought it was more spontaneous than that. But then again, my textbooks taught me that Christopher Columbus was awesome at everything and never did a bad thing. So my education is up for debate. Then f***ing shoot them! Jesus, what is this asshole waiting for? A 1961 Lincoln Continental convertible?
I don't want to die.
You're not going to die. Stay here.
She f***ing bounces? They're right in the middle of a goddamn firefight with multiple bad guys on their ass, and Lorraine leaves this motherfucker by himself in the middle of a f***ing lobby. I don't care if this is an unreliable narrative. That shit's whack. Furiosa Origins. I have to hand it to this movie for this seemingly uncut shot of a brutal and claustrophobic fight. And even if it's a little Bournian, it doesn't have that shaky cam aesthetic, so it's pretty f***ing original, and awesome, and long, and awesome. 3 cents off. God damn it, just when I give this movie props for this fight scene, they gotta add a f***ing villain pulls a knife midway through the fight cliche. Go! Luckily for Lorraine and Spyglass, these KGB dickheads not only have stormtrooper aim, they immediately abandon the successful strategy of shooting through the wall. I thought these KGB boys had radios and which was how they were communicating during the protest, but no one calls to let their comrades know that this ass beating is taking place? You guys can punch and kick all you want, but if you stay in this room to do it, odds are you're both going to die from the explosion or fire caused by any of the 8 things touching this radiator back here under the window. Wait, so the dude that got his eyes gouged out and his throat ripped open somehow runs these motherfuckers down for one last hurrah? I haven't seen a villain resurrection this contrived since the very end of Die Hard. Lorraine backs up easily down this street, even though the asshole that shot at them wrecked and totally blocked it. I guess the bad guys in this movie are basically video game characters that disappear a few seconds after they were vanquished. At this point, I'm gonna have to create a new sudden side view of a car definitely means there's about to be a terrible wreck cliche. Lorraine, and therefore movie, has time for this.
It's me.
God damn it. Doesn't anyone know how to approach a fucking spy in this movie?
He's dead. Spyglass is dead.
Pretty sure I've gotten Spyglass and Satchel confused, given that they are both unknown S-named spy people in this. Does the movie know how unnecessarily complicated this all is? Christ.
What no one in Germany believed possible has happened tonight. The wall is coming down.
You mean Lorraine, who was extremely freaked out, injured, and desperately searching for a bug in her room, stopped to turn on the TV to listen to the news? She's smoking a blunt and bawling her eyes out. Why is she so sad about weed? And after all the scuffling, the back and forth, the knife in the back, and all the bullshit, he still ends up successfully strangling her. Good for him. Wait, come the hell on. I know it's emotional that Delphine was killed, but Lorraine neither attempts CPR nor tries to immediately chase after the person she knows did it.
There's only one question left to ask. Who won?
Well, my best guess is Marlboro. Also, fourth wall breaking in the final act of a movie that already has an unreliable narrator, gonzo aesthetics, and too many flashes forward and backwards to count. I think we've already broken all the narrative rules, thank you very much. Oh no, don't touch that sweet, sweet Tennessee whiskey that obviously funded this movie.
You didn't have to kill her.
You suddenly decided to develop a conscience after all you've done?
Yeah, it's a good point, actually.
Truth and lies. People like us don't know the difference.
I'm sure I've seen a more dramatic death scene, like probably Talia al Ghul from The Dark Knight Rises, but this one is up there.
You killed David Percival.
Have you been listening, dude? Not only, yes, she did, and yes, she has, but also, she kinda had a good reason.
Where's the list, Lorraine?
I don't know.
Oh, bollocks.
This works. Movie waits until it moves to f***ing Paris before playing the most Londonist song ever.
Tovaris Satchel.
What?
Percival's Kasam Yaktoti.
God damn it, doesn't anyone know how to approach a f***ing spy in this movie? I haven't seen this many feathers in the air during a shootout since True Romance.
Before you die, I want to get this through your thick, primitive skull.
Because I'm ultimately kind of the villain in this movie, and I'm the only one that hasn't properly revealed the totality of my plan yet, damn it. Yeah, triple agent. You never saw that coming. Unless you've seen a few movies before this one, in which case this final whammy ends up falling flat and feeling a bit too hungry.
Let's go home.
So not only is MI6 barely worried about this extremely dangerous and stupidly named The List anymore, they're letting one of their most prized assets leave the country.
Gary! Where are you? You like to sit back here.
Excuse me. My associates and I, we made a little bet on what you do for a living. And I won.
Tommy, how's the peeping?
This is the end. Look at this photograph.
Well then.
Shall we begin?
But it's never been like this in Berlin.
You should have become a poet.
They should have said a poet.
This is highly sensitive. Trust no one.